this is Scott Snyder, and you're watching the Sci-Fi Center.
Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow, take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination thrive. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair.
Because I was really busy yesterday, and then we had Daredevil 2 episodes. I did not get a chance to do any trailer reactions for either of the genre films that came out either yesterday or the day before yesterday. So I'm going to do them now. This is going to be a really quick stream because I only wanted to get these trailers out. We are only watching the 2 trailers. It's the ones that are in the thumbnail. That's it. So hello, everybody. Welcome to a midnight trailer reaction. We're going to watch the Masters of the Universe trailer, and we're going to watch the Supergirl trailer, and I'll give you my thoughts on both of those. I'm your host. I'm the only host you're going to have tonight because Brad's a wuss and has to get up early tomorrow. So there we go. So let me say hi. Rachel Skeptic, thank you for the... I am only going to do these 2 because I don't even know what Backrooms is, and this was the theme of the night, so I may do that. Maybe tomorrow's Thursday. We'll probably remind me tomorrow, and we'll bring it up. I'll even put it on the thumbnails, but I was specific on what I wanted to focus on for tonight's show. But thank you for the $2 super chat. So no, what do I think the MCU will acknowledge in human species after the Secret Wars reboot? I don't know. Once again, I wouldn't call what they're doing with that a reboot because it's really not, because they're going forward. There are certain things that exist in this current universe that are going forward into the other. You're not going to get rid of Spider-Man. Fantastic Four already exists. So if they realign, then yeah, I think you would see them because I think you'll see all of the Marvel stuff. I don't think you'll see them beyond that, though. I think you would only see them only in that universe, and they will not acknowledge them beyond that. So whatever the sacred timeline is from Secret Wars going forward, I think the Inhumans will be brought in and killed or dissipated in that window, but you won't hear anything about them afterwards. So Krem from the Yellow Hills. That is he's the same villain that is in the if you haven't read the for those of you who haven't read Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, Krem from the Seven Hills is the villain. He's the one who shoots her dog. He's the one who kills Gracie, her sidekick for the story, her family and her father. And he is the one. He does not look anything like that, though. He's like a dashing blonde dude with a blonde goatee and all that, but they made him kind of look like a villain here. So yeah, it's Krem. Like I said, we'll do that tomorrow. We'll do that tomorrow. I didn't want to really trying to stay focused if we from what I put. Let's see. feels like cool Guardians. I really don't see it. This is what the second. This is the first full blown trailer that gives you the premise, and I didn't see it in the other one. I think anybody. I got to be wary because James Gunn's the head of DC Studios. Maybe there may be some stuff that carries over, but it worked. We're not talking about somebody who's taking elements from like, dude, where's my car? We're talking about somebody, if you are taking elements from Guardians of the Galaxy, it's a really successful franchise, and I don't and I don't think Tom King and the people who are in charge of this are going to let it be to the point where it's a complete copy of what they did there. It'll be a DC movie. Let's see, 18 years old. That's not a spoiler. Sorry. I mean, that they show you that in damn trailer, dude. I mean, coming down. Okay, cool. We'll play the trailer tomorrow. Who comes? Is it the Warner Brothers? Who puts it out? I'll probably end up promoting it. Who knows? No Brad today. Yeah, Brad will not be here. He'll probably be in tomorrow, he said. Okay, let's start with Masters of the Universe, because this one's simple for me. So this one is a basic what it needs to be trailer. And we're going to start with that one first and go full screen. Here we go.
I know most of you don't remember me, but I know all of you.
Castle Grayskull. That's cute. They replaced the lion with Battle Cat.
Light years away on Earth, I never stopped trying to get back home.
Everything changed since you left.
It's all gone. Skeletor took my family. And he destroyed our world. It's all my fault. I know how it feels to fail. Take the sword. And when you fall, that's your chance to stand tall.
This looks as cheesy as it should.
The universe shall quake and must shudder.
This is my home. I'm gonna fight for it. But I can't do it without you.
Somebody wants to brawl.
I need every man, woman, or whatever that is.
You may have the power, but you're too scared to use it.
Trust me, I know how to use it.
You tell everyone that you're from another planet. It just makes you sound a little very crazy.
Okay. I got John Carter vibes from that. It just gave me, John Carter, by the way, wasn't the worst movie. was a horribly, horrendously marketed movie, but wasn't the worst. It wasn't Waterworld bad. But I got John Carter vibes from that. I also got cheesy 80s vibes from that. And that's I think where they might have gotten it here is where G.I. Joe did not. I think G.I. Joe is so over the top, and all these 80s cartoons that you used to come home and watch around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, transfer all these you got to remember there were 80s cartoons that were their total purpose was to sell toys. The He-Man cartoon exists to sell the He-Man toy. The Transformers cartoon exists to sell the Transformer toys. GI Joe exists solely and at a comic backing it up. Everything that was coming out in the 80s for any of these IPs was to sell the toy. And I think that's where GI Joe kind of lost the plot. But yeah, I think this is I think this is going to be fun. I think this has the potential to make a lot of money. Is it my most anticipated movie to do? No. It might be a fun hour and a half or two, but I wouldn't I'm not putting this over Dune or anything like that. But it looks like a lot of fun, and I think that's what He-Man's supposed to be. I didn't mind the 1987 movie because it was just a different era of movie making. And Frank Langella is great as Skeletor. Meg Foster is great as evil-lyn. So it wasn't a bad movie. Now, Wildor and all these other goofball elements that they added to it, I don't know. But once again, they did the same thing with the Punisher with Dolph Lundgren again. They kind of like made it like a late 80s type of thing. But 80s live action versus 80 cartoons, totally different planets. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. That trailer didn't do anything for me as far as getting me to, any more, sense of urgency to go see the movie. I was going to go anyway, and that trailer didn't move me in any direction. It's just the premise alone is and somebody who grew up on He-Man, that's enough. But what did it do for you guys? Did He-Man, did this trailer do anything to bring you closer to going to see it? Let's see. Let's see. He Man, Supergirl, the same. No. I got different vibes from both of these. This is in my opinion. Hey, look, I've been on the air for 16 minutes and I just got notified that I am live. How about that? YouTube. Yeah, I think Jared Leto looks fine for this role. I think he's one of those method roles for him. Also have a show chance for the camera tomorrow stream starring maybe. I don't want to turn into a trailer. I mean, I do these ones that I'm doing tonight because it's in the genre of stuff I do. Because remember, every time we show a trailer, we get demonetized. So it's like, when we show multiple ones like we're going to do now, it gets even worse. So if it's not my thing, then I don't know if I want to, be taking a hit for it. But I'll take a look at it. John Carter Thor. I don't know if I would insult in that because I could kind of feel the Thor there, though. Maybe the better elements of Thor, which are William, I watched Punisher Warzone the other day. My favorite Punisher. For me, it's Barenthal. In fact, as a matter of fact, now once I had seen John Barenthal play Punisher, I can't really look at the other two that played them, or the three actually, because you figure if you want to include Dolph Lundgren, I mean, none of those characters, they equally don't do it for me. It's John Barenthal, I just don't watch anymore, And not saying that Thomas Jane and Ray Stevens didn't do a good job, but there's a difference between doing a good acting job and being the Punisher, and they are not the same. But that's just my opinion. Dark of the Moon was a horrible movie, but hey. Not necessarily, no. Not necessarily. I mean, one's a flaming. I mean, other than the similarities of having this exposed skull, I mean, that's about it. But one has a flaming head. So looking forward to seeing He Man in this trailer 100%. So it'll be cool. I'm gonna go see it. As the '80s kids in me, it will drag me and make me, bring me there. But this trailer didn't, like I said, it didn't grab me by the neck and say, "You will be here on June." Did I get April Fool today on any? No, I stayed off the internet for the most part. I hate April Fools. This is the dumbest fucking day of the year. And stupid people do stupid shit and they think it's funny. I pretty much stayed away unless I had to be on there to do something that was for business. I routinely and annually stay the fuck off the internet when it comes to April Fool's Day, because the dumbest people find new levels of dumb on April Fool's Day and start pranking and fake deaths and stuff that I'm like, what do you think I can't read a calendar? So I just skip it. And in the world we live in today, I don't want the fake bullshit getting intertwined with the real shit. Who knows what the fuck will happen here? No. So no, I didn't file for any of the fake bullshit. If people tag me, I ignored you, because if it was about April Fools, people I knew that were only tagging me for April Fool's bullshit, I did not respond. I hate April Fools. I'm a person who consumes news, and to me, it's not a joke, especially these days. So yeah, I stayed away from it. So yeah, but you got to get to the last hour of Dark of the Moon, unfortunately. How you doing, Dan? What's going on? Yeah, I heard that. I heard that a couple of days ago. Let's see. He had that in TNA too. Suicide actually debuted for that game, the TNA game. What are my impressions of the new He Man trailer? I'm very excited and encouraged that they're actually trying to appeal to the Gen Xers that grew up in it. Yeah, otherwise it would have failed. They took the right road. I don't think there's anything special about what He Man brings you unless you bring that era, because you're gambling that Generation Xers who have kids of movie going age, depending on when they had their kid, are going to take it. So you're going to double up on that audience. So you're going to get the Gen Xers and you're going to get the next generation below them to the movies, and that's your multiplier right there. They're thinking Barbie when they're thinking that. Will it work? Don't know, but it's the most viable shot that they have, because if you just remake, you try to modernize He-Man to make it for the 2020s, I think it would bomb. I got April Fool's at Doomsday, got delayed by a year. Believable because Hollywood strike. I stayed off the internet. I stayed off. Nope, I didn't see it because I stayed off. Don't be surprised if Masters of the Universe gets sequels and spin-off movies, because I feel it's going to do a banger at the box office. It could be, because you still got. I mean, if it does well, I don't know how this movie is going to be received, but if it does well, you got She-Ra, Hordak, you got all the slime people, you got so much stuff that you could play with if this goes well. So yeah, I agree. I've been discouraged about movies trying too hard to appeal to younger generations. Cost Superman, so I encourage him. Yeah, it was in younger generation, but it's also appealing to an era, because you have your Gen Xers that were kids during that era, but there are a lot of people who aren't even from that generation that really enjoy that culture. They're just like people that were not alive in the 60s that love 60s music. It's an appeal. The 80s was a special era that kind of, like, depending on what angle you look at it, it might appeal to you. So you might not even even need to be a old part. But I do think it is a good shot for them, though. Oh yeah, that's gonna be crazy. I am, for the most part. I think it's, but you have to do it right though. For the most part, I would agree with you. But there are situations to where if you have something that's over the top, you may as well go with the vibe. I don't know if a 2026, leaning He Man would do any well, do it well. But for the most part, I do it because I don't think that most people today can properly replicate what the 80s meant to people. And I think that's where the majority of them fail. You got to be really good at this to do this. You know what? Maybe they've hit it out of the park here. I can only tell you that from the trailer that I saw. Yeah, and in the 90s as well. 90s music, in the 80s music, you just have to do it right. You just got to be able to disarm that bomb right without you know, you know, going overboard. It can be done. It's just you got to be really good. You got to be really careful with it. So yeah, Masters of the Universe, all of them, GI Joe, Transformers, and Masters of the Universe all had comics to back up their cartoons and toy sales. William, do you think live action Thundercats film is making will be good? I need to know more about it. I pretty much haven't paid attention to Thundercats because they kept telling me, "Oh, it's going to happen," and I think it's 4 years now since we've been talking about Thundercats. Let me see who's involved in it first, Rational. Let me see what their track record is as far as doing stuff like that. Thundercats is an immensely popular IP, though. But here's the thing, though. The campiness that was He-Man is not necessarily Thundercats. People who like Thundercats are going to want that shit to be spot on. Whereas you want He-Man to be goofy. It all depends on who's working on it and what tone that they take, I guess. Same thing with Voltron. I'm going to reserve my thoughts for that. It did. Especially your horror movies, because they were mirroring what they were getting from the Italian horror scene. A lot of your slashers, we've covered this before. A lot of your slashers and things like that are coming from the Dario Argento or Lucio Fulci area, where that is what they did. That was part of the art, and when we took it over, we kind of took it to a new level. Kind of made it gratuitous, but gratuitous is in the eye of the beholder. You do Mary Jane Parker today. Congrats. Jose, what's going on? I think it looks kid-friendly for the kids of 1984, 1985. I think that's its target, so it could be all right. Yeah, I think they're putting it on Amazon. So, all right, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at the other trailer on the thumbnail. So one that's a bit more controversial, I guess, depending on how you like to waste or spend your time whining at the internet for a cartoon comic book movie. So here we go. And
hey, I was just touching base to see when you think you might be coming back. I'm just worried that you're not going to find your stride here if you keep going off-world all the time, Kara. I'm worried you're not going to find your people.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, Clark. I have no people. Home is wherever you are, buddy.
now this song is going to probably get me taken off of YouTube.
Crypto and I at least had each other. Honestly, I thought we were lucky.
But look, almost by definition runs out. What can I do?
The Brickens carry the antidote on that person. He has 3 days.
You cannot give up on me.
It's creme of the Yellow Hills. Who murdered
There's
my
your villain.
innocent family.
Just do what I say. And don't die. This does not look like this is gonna end well for you guys.
Stop. You're hurting my head.
There's your Lobo.
Revenge. It won't take your pain away.
Your eyes are beautiful when you cry. A lot of pain, huh? A lot of suffering.
There's no home without you, buddy.
Aren't you the ditz from that dive bar?
Funny. That's what I've been calling you.
Touche.
All right. I got a better at this point in the game. I had a better feeling about Supergirl than I did about Superman. In this trailer, it doesn't. It looks like they're aiming for our audience. They know what their target audience is, and they don't give two shits about anybody else. I think this movie, judging from what I've seen, is and it's only a trailer and a teaser, is as close to a DC story adaptation as they've done. If you've read Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, obviously Lobo is not in there, but they've put him in there as in place of certain characters. I don't like Crim's look. I don't like that heels have eyes, metal faced. I don't like that. I thought the whole point of Clem in the comic books is that he was a charming asshole. He just looks like a biker style here, but Jason Momoa looks like he's having fun. I grew up an 8, 9, 10-year-old me did not like Lobo because I viewed him as a cheap knockoff of Wolverine, which I believe he was, and I think they've pretty much said as much. I got people always coming at me. I can't believe you're a piece of shit. You don't like Lobo. So fuck you. Fuck you. If you like Lobo, wonderful. Wonderful. I love Keith Giffen. Keith Giffen helped create that character. Cannot stand that character, but I love Keith Giffen. Thought he was right down to the cigar. After Wolverine miniseries, you look at how where Lobo comes around, and when Wolverine starts spending most of his time without his cowl, and he's got the wild hair, the sideburns, and he's always smoking that damn cigar. And then here comes Lobo. So yeah, whatever. But Jason Momoa probably will change my mind about how he's perceived. So I thought Lobo, if you're going for the accuracy, you can't even get closer than him. I think it's going to do well amongst people who love stories about dogs. It's she's trying to save crypto. So, but I also think just now that I've seen this trailer, it's going to struggle a little bit because I think there is a certain perception of Supergirl, a old dead one that really hasn't existed in decades, that people will try to fix onto this character, and it might hurt it. You also have, I don't know if there's enough of the people who watch the show on CW. That's the latest interpretation besides the Sasha Calle one, which we really never got to see, as much as we could have. So, but when you think of Supergirl, I think there's a label that's put on the classic Supergirl that doesn't fit with this story, and it doesn't fit with the comic either that the story comes from. So, if people give it a chance, it could do well, but I think it's going to face some headwinds. And I'm not saying that's a quality issue. I think that is an acceptance issue. Hope I'm wrong, because I am looking more forward to this than I was Superman. Not as much as I'm looking forward to Lanterns. Which, by the way, guys, is all these delays and shit. We're 4 months away from Lanterns. Can you believe it? It's too damn long, but we are. So, but did this trailer change my perception of the movie? No, I was gonna go see it anyway. And really, there's nothing in this trailer that says, "Oh shit, now I really have to see it." But what about you guys? Were you not going to see it, and now you're closer to going to see it, or was this just affirmation of what you were already going to do to begin with? So, all right, that was the last trailer of the night. The villain is very generic and looks like he's bad. Not quite sure if that's going to be the case if you've read the story, but I don't think that villain looks generic at all. I think that villain looks kind of hideous. It's just I don't think it's the look I would have used for the character. That's all. No, he is not. He is not. Let's see. Well, they meet for different reasons, but she ends up going in on the mission to go get him because she has to save Crypto. That girl you see, and I'm not. This is just the premise of the story. It's not a spoiler. She wants to hire Supergirl to kill Krem because Krem killed her family. He has enough. Got to realize it's not a Lobo movie, not yet. We'll probably get to that. The MILF magnets will make sure we get a Lobo show, but he's in it enough. Remember, it's not his movie, so. Oh, we're gonna definitely be talking about Masters of the Universe. We're gonna definitely talk. I mean, I think I have some toys at the store too. We'll bring it up. Let's see. I have my reasons. Because I remember it, and this is because in 82, 83, I was still like buying comic books off the rack. I believe though, where I got the Wolverine trade paperback had came out a year after its release, and it was at the library, believe it or not. And I fell in love with Frank Miller's Wolverine. Frank Miller and Chris Claremont. That I love that story. But that is the era where he started not. He wasn't as identified with his mask as he was without it for a couple years after that. He was, whenever you saw Wolverine from like 1975 all the way up until maybe 81, 82, he predominantly had the cowl on. And then when they changed his costume from the yellow, blue, and black to the maroon and brown one, which would be the first time I would see him, and that costume's underrated, by the way. And it's the costume that they would have for him from like the early 1980s all the way up until Jim Lee era. So he had that costume for almost the entirety of the 80s, which is a very iconic costume. I know a lot of people are familiar with the yellow and the black, but that's his first costume. But the actual costume that really he was wearing when the X-Men became the number one comic and led into what the 90s would be was that brown one. And he would often wear, he was like 50-50 at that point. You were at more that, you were you had as much odds to seeing him without the cowl. And then when you saw him, he had this wild hair, these sideburns, post the 70s. We weren't in the 70s anymore. These sideburns, and he was always smoking a cigar. He's always smoking a cigar. And I just feel that Lobo was Keith Giffen. By the way, good on Keith Giffen because that's smart. He took a character that was popular, that had gone into a new level with a recognizable face now instead of under the cowl, and he capitalized on it. The adult me doesn't really mind that. I just never had any use for that character. And in the 80s, he was a joke. He was a joke. He didn't start getting serious as a character until Keith Giffen took over Legion, I think 88, 89. and they used him as an anti-hero. And then when he started to get his own series, and his series with Simon Bisley doing the covers, those are I think that was Simon Bisley doing the covers. That's when he started becoming more of a draw. But I just never had the use for the character. But that's going back to kid me though. Let's see. Yeah, I think for me it's because I was growing up as it happened. I was buying and reading these things as it was happening, and everybody. It wasn't just Keith Giffen, by the way. Once the X-Men started to sell, as we headed into the early to mid '80s, everybody wanted to have that type of character. And here's another trick that a lot of characters and a lot of comic books, DC and it doesn't matter who company they were, they wanted their book to sell more. So back in the old days, and in fact, I still organize my store this way too, from A to Z. So they would come up with titles like the All Stars, and then they would change the titles to Young All Stars, or they would put their titles so that they were next to Uncanny X-Men or X-Men. So that as you were buying the top selling comic of the 80s, you're sitting next to these other comics, and us geeks were like, what's this? And it worked. So I don't mind them capitalizing. I think I was 9 or whatever, I couldn't stand that character, and I just never let it go. It's silly, I know, but yeah. So is collecting comic books and doing all the other silly shit that I do. Just feels like an MCU movie. I mean, there are some similarities, but I could sit and dissect every DC or Marvel movie and show you shit that they took from each other, and it really, doesn't really bother me at that point. Boy, on the one hand, I'm really excited about Supergirl and the Lanterns. On the other hand, I just hope my time isn't wasted by the poster. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get Lanterns. So that much is affirmed. We're not gonna. I mean, we've gotten close enough to Lanterns, and we know we're gonna get. Are we gonna get more of Lanterns? If I love Lanterns and I'm left hanging, and I don't get any more of what I love, then that's gonna be the part where I just start doing other things with my time. So I agree with you 100%. If I have the free time, there's a positive buzz about Supergirl. I'm more than likely to go see it. You're right about this feeling better with the trailers of Superman, and I like the frequency and the time in between. I really wasn't the biggest fan of the way Superman compressed that advertising campaign, and I really think that more people, had they endeared themselves earlier, I mean, it did well. I thought I could have done a lot better. I thought had they pushed Superman the same way that they're pushing Supergirl, because Superman's a more iconic, bigger character, I think that they could have maybe 50, 60 more million, maybe even more. But I just really didn't like that race towards the finish. I wasn't big on the final trailer being, inside of 9. I really wasn't a big fan of that. But, they did what they thought they needed to do. I think Mania MILF Magnet status was 10 years ago. No. You're trying to understand the mind of a MILF Fourth. I don't think that's going to work. I don't even think you should try. I think he only magnetizes cougars now. Cougars got money. Cougars have kids. Hell, cougars have grandkids. So there's 3 levels of money right there. He don't have Aquaman body. He's got Minecraft body now. The MILFs are, dude. The MILFs are going to push you out the way for it to get to Jason Momoa. A late night duck sighting. What's going on there? I know fans of Deathstroke that can't stand Deadpool for the reason. Yeah. It that was clear when Nick Aiza and Layfield did that. And when they created that character, he wasn't necessarily comic relief. And he cracked some jokes, but it wasn't until later on that he became, the merc with the mouth. So don't know. And the reason why is because of YouTube and social media and TikTok. You can just you can evenly balance your ad campaigns. I mean, I think they should. I don't think you should stop doing your Super Bowl campaign, especially if the channel it's on your station. Like, I mean, if depending on if you have a bartering agreement with other networks, if you're a Fox movie, you should have your movie out on you should have your movie out there because you're not paying. If it's a Universal movie, you should have your movie out there. DC, if the Super Bowl's on ABC, then Disney owns ABC. They should have it on there. So it depends on what the circuit. It is expensive. But it's also YouTube gets it out there like that. YouTube gets the same reason you don't see. It's not so important to have the theaters in the trailers in the theaters like we use. Remember, some trailers usually exclusively you had to go see the movies to get the trailer. YouTube. If I want everybody excited about it, I put it on YouTube. It serves the same purpose. Not everybody watches football, but I still think they should. But I do think you'll see it, but it'll depend on what channel it's on. Because if it's on your network that you own, you don't have to pay anybody. I can only tell you what I feel from the trailers, from just the trailer that I saw. I can see where they're going with that. Yeah, with as far as the choose. Aside from the desert location, True Detectives is only melancholy vibe about philosophical outlook on how bad society is. Yeah, and you know what? It's great. I thought True Detective season 1 was great, but I don't think that for me personally, that the other ones are that far behind it. Season 4 matches it. Season 4 matches it. So yeah, I different point of view. I'd slightly disagree with that. How you doing, this tech? What's going on? I would watch them all. I mean, season 2 is not as good as season 1, but it's not bad. Season 3 I thought was good, and season 4 was definitely good. So we watched that one here. I would have. Okay, I didn't hate that ending. I would have done it differently. Where they were leading me with that ending, and where they left us with that ending, I would have made different decisions, but it didn't destroy the show for me. I'll give that there. Dan the Man, William, you're right about DC needing to pump their brand a little bit more. Absolute is doing gangbusters, but as a whole, I'm not really needing. Well, I think because you should be. I'm going to tell you, this is all my opinion. Because I'm looking at all of it, you should be excited about the brand. Now, as far as papers and staples goes, now as far as like if you're talking about just regular, screen motion stuff, I can't really tell you how to feel because I don't know how I feel. But when it comes to, I said this a year ago, and I said this back in 2024 when I came back from Comic-Con. I think the entire DC brand, paper, staples, movies, video games should follow the blueprint that Scott Snyder's putting out. Be generally excited about what you are doing. When I talked to him this last weekend, when I interviewed him, this man is having fun. The excitement about what he's working on radiates from him. It's not just business. It is a business, but he's having fun with these stories and these interpretations. And all the people Joshua Williams, all the people that are working with him, it radiates throughout them. And when they come and they talk about these, and they go to these cons and they do these shows, and they're talking to everybody. They're talking to me. I'm a YouTube nobody. I got an interview with a guy whose brand and inner brand is selling 8 million copies. The total sales of Absolute DC has been 8 million. That's unheard of. But that guy made time for me. So they're talking to everybody because they're excited about it. And if everybody looks and then takes what he's doing and forms it to what they're doing, It makes the adjustment to movie, makes the adjustment to cartoon, makes the adjustments to video games, and you take that excitement and that creativity, then there's DC can't lose. So I hope everybody's watching the Absolute Universe right now. I love season 1, but I don't think it's the only good season of True Detective. But everybody's different. Well, that's HBO. You ever watch Euphoria? All right, guys. My mission has been accomplished. Maybe tomorrow night we'll look at this other one that you guys are bringing up. But tonight I wanted to keep it focused on what I was focused on. So we will do a Thursday night live stream tomorrow. Hopefully allergies. Hopefully I have a co-host by then. And have a good Thursday. Now that this bullshit that it is April Fools is past us, I can get back on the internet. And until then, I will see you guys tomorrow with the co-host. We'll have some topics. We'll have some trailers to watch, I guess. And then it's headed into the weekend. So have a nice night. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Any of you guys that are watching this in the decent hours of the day, what did the He Man trailer or Master of the Universe trailer do for you? What did the Supergirl trailer do for you? So, and until then, have a good night, guys. $50 worth. $50. How about that? You got 2 minutes. And I know you're not going to do this, but you kept asking throughout the chat. So there's a number. There's a number. You want me for you to jam up my thumbnail and just introduce something that's probably going to get me demonetized already anyway, but I'm realistic. What's your number? $5, $10. We can do it tomorrow night. Okay, sure. Why not? I'm not doing it for 10. I can do it later on during the day for 10. I had no plans on talking about that today. We can wait till tomorrow. Yeah, 1 minute. Who says there's $10? I don't care. You got about maybe 40 seconds left. I'm indulging forth. I know he's not going to pull the trigger on this, but there you go. All right. Looks like we're going to be talking about this tonight, Thursday night. What's the final price? That's it. That's it. My show is over. If you want to add more to the show, you're going to have to make it worth my time. Pretty sure this is 2 minutes is already up, but yay or nay, Forth? I got my finger on the outro again. Oh, I don't. That's we're not at the point in our relationship where I can ask Scott Snyder to tattoo anything on anything. But all right, we'll see you then. See you guys.